Hello, welcome to my show called Steve Sports. You know I'm wearing my Bengals. I got the Seahawks the coach right here with Russell Wilson, Pete Carroll, and all the greats. And I have my Packers cup, my Buccaneers. And today I'm going to talk about is some football, just kind of a lot of my opinion of things of what's been happening. With Tom Brady returning to Tampa Bay, I think Tampa Bay has pushed their luck a little bit higher because when he first retired, I figured, okay, now we got to see what the Buccaneers are going to do, what the Buccaneers are planning to do. We didn't know what was going on. I thought they were going to look into a drafting a quarterback or look at free agency. Those were kind of things that processing my mind on what the Buccaneers could do. But because Tampa Bay was surprised that Brady came out of retirement and decided to play for Tampa, which does make sense because Buccaneers still have a lot of young veterans in there, and they're more of a Super Bowl ready team right now for the NFC North or the NFC South. My mistake on that part. Because if you look at it, Matt Ryan from Atlanta Falcons traded to Indianapolis Colts for a third-round draft pick. Smart move for both sides because they're bringing Marcus Mariota to give him a second shot as a starter. Now, if Marcus can show that he can still play at a high level and be that starter, I think Atlanta's going to re-sign him to a long-term deal there, maybe 3 to 5 years, and then see how things go with there. That's what Ross says I see what Atlanta could do. Carolina, they're having a quarterback competition with Sam Darnold possibly taking the starting role. Now, in his situation, last year, the first couple games, they were looking pretty good. Then they started to stumble. They started tripping. Just don't know what was going on there. So if they were going to keep Darnold at their starter, I think the quarterback coach is going to have to work with him a little bit more one-on-one, get him to understand how the process works, making those passes onto the right target, not to the other team, and also having the offensive line kind of give him a little more action. He's got to build that trust if he's going to be a start for Carolina. But the NFC South is favoring Tampa. And New Orleans, with James Winston coming back, I still think Tampa is going to take it. Now, I would be too surprised if the Saints took the NFC South over Tampa. But that still tells me, okay, Tampa Bay is still going to be a Super Bowl contenders in the NFC side. Because if you look at it, with Russell Wilson going from Seattle to Broncos after 10 years with Seattle, which is another theory, another reason why the AFC looks more of a tougher division. I think they are more favored than the NFC because with Brady and Rodgers still in the NFC and Wilson going to the AFC, it still kind of makes me feel like, okay, AFC's got to be, because you got Devontae Adams going to the Raiders, which with Akers, one of the best Rodgers receivers. You got Tyreek Hill, who's still in AFC. You got Von Miller, who went from the Rams to the Buffalo Bills, who signed a deal with Buffalo to a 2-year deal. And so it's like all the good players are going to the AFC side. AFC, what they got? They got a right few guys. Green Bay, you got Aaron Rodgers, who should have just taken a pay cut to stay with the team. But they probably been able to keep Devontae Adams, but they didn't. Rodgers wanted to be a high-paid quarterback. Now he is. Mahomes wanted the same thing. The Chiefs were able to do it because the Chiefs knew what they had to do, but because they had to trade Tyreek Hill, knowing they did not have enough money to keep him. So that is something we also have to think about. Now, with the Seahawks situation, there is a lot of situations that, to me personally, is kind of, they said they were going to retool. Well, they're rebuilding while Pete Carroll's still there. They let go Bobby Wagner. They traded Russell Wilson. Even though Russell Wilson wanted to get more money, then they had a salary cap of $26 million saving. Then you get Drew Lock in the trade, and you sign him to a 1-year deal, making me feel like, okay, if they're not going to get a veteran quarterback on the free agency or draft a quarterback, then I feel like Drew Lock is going to be their starter. That is what the Seahawks is going to look at. they had a chance to get Matt Ryan, but they didn't. Baker Mayfield may be on the move because Deshaun Watson going to the Browns. And so the Seahawks want to do that, they could get Mayfield. I feel like the Seahawks could get him. Or if they wanted to, they can give Colin Kaepernick a second chance. I do believe Colin Kaepernick deserves a second chance in the NFL. I feel like he can still show that he can still play the game. And if he can still make those beautiful passes, fine. Sign him to a 1-year deal to see how he does. Or let some other team pick him up. Because right now, in the NFC West, I'm looking at the Arizona Cardinals. I'm looking at the San Francisco 49ers. And I'm looking at the LA Rams. Those three are going to really dominate the NFC West division. If you look at the AFC West division, you got Denver now on the list with Kansas City. You got Derek Carr and the Raiders finally showing some life. Chargers are still showing that they can still compete with adding a Khalil Mack to their defense, which puts it a little tougher for Mahomes, who not only have the best fastest wide receiver, but he got Juju Smith-Schuster, another good wide receiver that joined the Chiefs. I'm happy for the Chiefs for that because they're definitely going to be heavily favored. Because the AFC side, you got Kansas City, you got Buffalo, and you got Denver. Baltimore, maybe. Cincinnati, yes. The Bengals, I do believe they have a chance to make it. I think they can make it again this year. I'm not doubting they can't, but I think they can because you got Cleveland with Deshaun Watson. And the Browns maybe do better. They'll make the playoffs because they're going to be competing for the AFC North with Cincinnati, Baltimore, and Pittsburgh. Now, with Mitchell Trubisky going to Pittsburgh, I think the Steelers are going to be a wild card contenders. Not a Super Bowl contender, but a wild card contenders. So I feel like, we could see this happen. Now, if the Ravens really wanted to get Lamar on track, get offensive line, get some defense in there, give him some weapons, let Lamar be Lamar. He's a good quarterback. He just got to keep doing what he does best. Don't let him run the ball so much, but let him roll it. See if he can be that pocket passer if you have to help save Slate, make him last a little longer. So those are the kind of things that I see on the AFC North side of things. The AFC East, well, really, you're looking at Buffalo Bill with Josh Allen, and you're looking at Tua and the Dolphins taking second place. Patriots, they'll probably take third, and they'll probably be welcome. Matt Jones is pretty good. He's solid, but had a lot to learn at a quarterback and show that he could play at a high level like Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Joe Montana, Brett Favre, Steve Young, Dan Marino. Those great guys. So that is something we could see out of Mac Jones because New York Jets, well, Zach Wilson's still going to be in that rebuilding team. They're going to have a lot to work with. They'll have to really build what they got and see what they can do. And on the NFC side, with Carson Wentz going from Indianapolis to Washington Commanders, I feel like this could be his last chance to show he could be the starter. Now, don't be wrong. If they don't make the playoff and they decide to trade him off, Chicago Bears could pick him up. The Bears could use him because he's a veteran, and Justin Fields, who's young, he's got a lot of athleticism. I believe he's going to do good for the Bears as long as they build around him. And if they're not going to bring back Andy Dalton the year after year, Brandon Carson Wentz. See what you can do to build that chemistry between Fields and Wentz. Because with those two together, I think the Bears would be a very good team. Not great, but a good team. Because if you think about it, you got Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers. If he ever decides to retire, then you're gonna have Minnesota and Chicago being that competitors net. Because Detroit, well, I don't know. The Lions, I don't feel like they want to push a lot of level. I don't feel like the Lions want to push on things, and like Jared Goff, he's gotta find that chemistry he had with Sean McVay with Dan Campbell. Campbell can build that relationship with his young quarterback and get the frustration going out of it, and showing that Goff can be their starter. Goff can be the quarterback. He's good. It just, they need offensive line protection. They need to get him some weapons. So that's why I'm saying the NFC North will be interesting to see if Rodgers did not regress at a strong level like he did this season. He had a great 21 season, don't be wrong. Yeah, he was named MVP. Great guy. But to me, you're going to have to start getting ready to where Rodgers not on the play anymore. You're going to have to bring Jordan Love, or you're going to have to look at some agency the year after that and see what you can do. So that's pretty much the general what I've seen so far in the NFL. And with the draft coming up, you know, I'm hearing about Kenny Pickett, the guy from Malik from Liberty University. You know, a lot of these young guys I've been hearing about. A lot of good talent in this draft class that's going to help some teams. Now, if we were to see one of these guys to become MVP level, these are the top 5 teams that I see could make him an MVP level. Number 5 is Green Bay Packers. Number 4, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Number 3, I may have to really give it to Kansas City because I got Buffalo at number 2. And then number 1, I'm kind of like, I'm going to go with, Baltimore. I think Baltimore could have that kind of extreme levelness to what a MVP kind of guy could be. Now, like I said, this show, it just, my opinions, expressing my opinions about things, what I see around the league, and what I see in the sports world, and I'm just expressing what I feel. You can put comments down, like this video, share it with people you know. Unless you're somebody I know that's a Bears fan that like to mess with me, don't let the Bears do suck, because I'll be honest, they're still on a rebuilding stage. Lee, yeah, this, you know, if you got any questions, put them down in the comments and share this video, and just let me know what I can do to improve on my show, so that way the more viewers can come and watch, and I can improve, because my goal is to work for ESPN someday and have my own show. Now, as I'm getting toward the end of my show, I'm going to talk about which conference looks dangerous this year, AFC or NFC. Like I said earlier, I said AFC was most likely interesting because with Davante Adams, Russell Wilson, Von Miller, you know, those guys going to the AFC is basically telling me, okay, we got the AFC West looking dangerous. We got the AFC East looking dangerous. We got the AFC North, AFC South looking dangerous. So it really comes down to, okay, it looks like we're going to see those having a higher chance winning the Super Bowl for like the next 4 to 5 years before the NFC starts winning it again. The teams that are favored to the Super Bowl, in my opinion, is Cincinnati Bengals. Of course, you know, I got to root for the Bengals. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Voila. Green Bay. Yeah, I gotta give Green Bay some credit there. Kansas City. The Chargers, the Dolphins, yeah, I'm going to put them in there. Well, playoffs, yes. Super Bowl, The other teams I could see that could make the Super Bowl run will be LA Rams. I would have to put them in there. I feel like they could do it. The 49ers, yes. Cardinals, well, they're just iffy. They kind of bite off their legs a little too early. and so they kind of choke around. The Dallas Cowboys, aka the Dallas Cowgirls, not so much. They'll be playoffs. Chicago Bears, I know I have a friend who's a big Bears fan. He put bear fur in his arms, making it like he got muscles. He knows who he is. He knows who I'm talking about. Yeah, they're playoff teams. Yeah, they could make the playoffs. I think they could if they stay healthy and Justin Fields stays healthy. They could be a playoff team. Denver is a Super Bowl contenders for sure. With adding Russell Wilson to that offensive weapons that they got, yeah, they're going to be a very tough team to look out this year because the AFC West is going to have some really big questions on all those 4 teams who has a higher chance, and I think it's going to come down to Denver and Kansas City most likely as the 2 teams in the AFC West that could do it. Yeah, that's really what I see so far in the NFL. And so it'd be interesting to see where we can see what happens. Like I said, what I do is I look at the free agencies and I look at the draft, and that tells me, okay, who's been signed, what happened, the trades, and that kind of tells me, okay, this is what I think is going to happen. This is what the teams I think are going to be good this year. Teams are not going to be good this year. So it's like that's the process. Is how I think with my mind on how these football teams would work. Now as we transition to baseball, the MLB lockout finally ended. I'll be honest, I was getting sick and tired of this MLB lockout. I really was like, come on, let's get baseball going. Football's off right now. We got spring football coming up. Be interesting to see. I'll probably do some coverage on that as well. So with baseball finally coming back, I really want to see how the Mariners do. They added some guys, Adam Frazier, Jesse Winkler, added to the team. The Mariners came close to the playoffs last year, very close, but they lost the final game to the Angels. The Angels are still kind of trembling on a rebuild, so they could progressively make the playoffs. But the Mariners, I think, will be a wild card team. They'll make the playoffs for the first time since 2001, was the last time they made the playoffs. The Yankees are still looking good. They're probably going to work on trying to get Aaron Judge to sign a new deal with them before opening day, which we could see happen in the next couple of weeks. We just got to keep an eye on that. The Yankees are still going to be one of the favorites to go to World Series. The Houston Astros are still one of them. Washington Nationals, I'm going to put them in there as well to kind of like just feed that World Series hunger. That is really what we're expecting to see. The Dodgers, yeah, they're going to be that competitive team. I'm still putting them in that list as World Series hunger. Let's see who else. Chicago White Sox, yeah, the Boston Red Sox. So when I say World Series hunger, I am actually talking about a team that is built for that success, built to run to the World Series. When I say playoff hunger, I mean teams that are built for playoff hungers but not World Series hungers. So there'd be like 2 sections to kind of understand, and that's something I would do with football, like playoff hunger, Super Bowl hunger. Kind of that way you guys can see, okay, this is my logic of what I see. I'll be wrong. I'll be wrong sometimes, and that's fine with me. I like a good argument. I like to put out my opinion. I like to hear what people got to say about things, and just come with good arguments. So yes, so that's what's the baseball news is happening. The NBA news, the West Conference, I'm looking at Golden State Warriors. Go Warriors. Looking at the Suns. Those two are really going to be to watch in the playoffs for the NBA. But I would not put the Lakers down. I'm sorry. I love the Lakers. Kobe Bryant was the greatest. LeBron, I think you're just carrying the team a little too overboard with guys that are older. Don't get me wrong. Russell Westbrook is great. Anthony Davis is awesome. But Davis gets injured a little bit. Westbrook just kind of just, I don't know, he's just more of a stable kind of guy. But he doesn't have that hunger to win, become champion like LeBron is. So I feel like the Lakers are going to make the playoff this year, but if they make the playoffs, they're not going to make it to the final, to the Western Conference Final. That'll be the Warriors and Suns. In the East side, it interesting is yet the Bucks. I still think the Bucks could push it. The Heats, Butler and the Heats are going to really push for that finals hunger. And the Nets. The Nets, if Kyrie Irving does play in the playoffs, more on the road, that's going to kind of hurt them a little bit, but that still kind of gives them a chance to push for their first ever finals in team history. If he played at home, then yeah, they're definitely going to be favored because 76ers, with adding Harden to Embiid, they're definitely looking more dangerous for the Eastern Conference. So those 14 in the Eastern Conference are going to be interesting to see, to watch this year, the playoff year. And that's how I see things, what I see happening in their numbers. So yeah, those are the 5 teams, 6 teams, my bad, I would say are NBA Finals champions contenders. Now, the last part of my show, I'm going to make a little statement, and I just know I'm gonna get a phone call or text, or he's gonna come up and talk to me about this and not agree with me. Is I had a conversation about the Tom Brady and Peyton Manning comparison. Now, if you really, really think twice about this and understand, okay, this is my logic, my opinion. Okay, this is just things that I see that kind of gives me an idea. Think about it this way. Tom Brady won 6 Super Bowl rings. 6. With one coach. Bill Belichick and the Patriots. Why? He took pay cuts, had players wanting to join. Peyton Manning gone to 4 Super Bowls with 4 different coaches and won 2. Do you know why? Because a team that he was on kept trying to rebuild and find that chemistry. Now, if Dungy didn't retire at the time, Peyton probably would have won at least 4 Super Bowls before he retired. But even though Belichick did it with one quarterback and won 6 Super Bowl rings, but that because he had extra players. Now, if Peyton was drafted to either the Miami Dolphins, the Arizona Cardinals, the Chicago Bears, the Minnesota Vikings, the Carolina Panthers, he would still have high numbers, but I still don't think he would have won a Super Bowl with those teams. He could have won some with Green Bay. He could have won some with Seattle. He could win some with Indianapolis, win some with Denver, Kansas City. So it's really, it's about the coaching staff and it's about the players. It's how the team is built. That is how I compared those 2 quarterbacks. Yes, they're both great. Both are true Hall of Famers. Peyton's a Hall of Famer 100%, which I'm happy. One of my favorite quarterbacks of all times. Tom Brady, the GOAT, don't be wrong. I think he's awesome. He won his 7th ring with the Bucks, winning as a second team. The second quarter to make it to a Super Bowl, the second team. But the first to win it at home with that team. Never happened before. Another fun fact I'm going to share with you is that Russell Wilson has made history because for the first time ever, a quarterback who won a Super Bowl against a team that he played against in a Super Bowl that now that he's playing for. So when he with the Seahawks win the Super Bowl against the Broncos, and now he's traded to the team that he beat in the Super Bowl, has never happened before. Peyton Manning never beat the Broncos to the Super Bowl because he was always on the AFC. Tom Brady, same. He never beat the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl because the Buccaneers were still rebuilding. So you kind of see those kind of logical facts that kind of helps you think, okay, that's a proven point. You may agree or disagree. That's fine with me. But like I said, this is just all my opinions. So please feel free after you listen to my show. I have a podcast called Steve Sports. It's on Spotify. You can follow that as well. This is my YouTube show. I'm going to be posting more and more episodes of this and podcast at the same time. If you want to have a question or comments, please put it down in the comments below. And I'd be happy to read them out on my next episode. And if you have advice you want to share with me to improve on my show, please, I'd be helpful. Thank you. And I hope you share it. And I hope you have a great night. And Matt, I know if you watch this episode, I know you're going to say shit to me. I know. Because this episode was just dedicated for you, my good friend. You. Have a great night. Go Buccaneers.